Welcome to Strange but True. Take a breath, slow down, and listen carefully. Some stories are documented, some are debated, some refuse to be explained. We tell you the stories. You decide what's true. Now, let's begin our journey. In the 13th century, Egypt was ruled by men who had once been enslaved. The Mamluk Sultanate was not a conventional monarchy. It was a military state shaped by war, discipline, and hierarchy. Its governing principle was unforgiving. Power belonged to the most capable commander, not the oldest son. Boys captured on distant frontiers were brought to Cairo. They were separated from their families. They were trained from childhood in horsemanship, archery, and tactics. Over years of instruction, they were molded into an elite mounted warrior class. They were slaves under the law, yet they became the backbone of one of the most powerful states of the medieval world. From this system emerged al-Malik al-Ẓāhir Baybars. The chronicles do not begin his life in a palace. They place him somewhere along the Black Sea frontier. Taken as a child, moved across long trade routes, and sold into a Mamluk household in Cairo. There, he was renamed, trained, and drilled until war became second nature. As a young cavalryman in the household of Sultan al-Salih Ayyub, Baybars learned more than combat. He observed how authority functioned inside a regime where loyalty was constantly tested and where a single misstep could mean exile or death. In 1249, a French crusading army landed in the Nile Delta. At Al-Mansura, the Mamluks executed a coordinated counterattack that shattered the invading force. Contemporary accounts describe disciplined charges, controlled maneuvering, and precise timing. Baybars distinguished himself in that battle, not as a ruler, but as a commander, proving his worth. Over the next decade, Cairo remained politically volatile. Sultans rose and fell through coups and factional struggles. Baybars advanced cautiously, building alliances among fellow officers and proving his reliability in war. Then, in 1260, a far greater threat arrived. The Mongol army swept through Syria, destroyed Baghdad, and ended the Abbasid Caliphate. For the first time in centuries, no major Islamic power stood between the Mongols and Egypt. At ʿAyn Jālūt, Baybars helped lead the Mamluk army that halted their advance. The first decisive defeat the Mongols suffered in the west. For the Mamluks, this was not only a battlefield success, it was proof that their military system, forged from slavery, discipline, and relentless training, could defeat even the most feared armies of the age. That victory preserved Egypt as a political center and elevated Baybars to the pinnacle of military prestige. It also demonstrated that Cairo could stand as the region's surviving center of power. Within months, the reigning sultan was removed from power. Baybars took the throne, not by bloodline, but through authority recognized by the Mamluk elite. Yet in this system, becoming sultan did not mean being secure. In Cairo, power could vanish overnight. As sultan, Baybars did not govern like a temporary strongman. He reorganized the army, standardized training, and strengthened Egypt's fortifications. After the fall of Baghdad, he installed a symbolic Abbasid caliph in Cairo. This did not restore the old empire but it framed Mamluk rule as the legitimate protector of Islamic authority. He then turned outward. Through systematic campaigns, Baybars dismantled the remaining Crusader strongholds along the Levantine coast, including Jaffa and Arsuf. These were planned sieges supported by engineers and supply lines, not impulsive attacks. Inside Egypt, governance grew more structured. Tax registers were standardized. Provincial officials were monitored more closely. Road and postal systems were improved. The same system that had elevated Baybars could just as easily remove him. Mamluk politics never abandoned the possibility of reversal. Authority depended on continual performance, on victories, administration, and the loyalty of other commanders. In 1277, Baybars died under suspicious circumstances, most likely poisoned. The uncertainty of his death fit a regime where power was always contested. What the records preserve is not a heroic myth, but a documented transformation. A boy taken from his homeland, mastering a ruthless military institution, reshaping a state, and leaving behind a reign recorded in meticulous detail. His rise reveals a central paradox of medieval Egypt, a slave system that produced formidable rulers. History has a way of hiding the truth, inside what it chooses not to explain. Inside tales, inside myths, inside legends, inside things that feel just a little off. If this story held your attention, subscribe to Strange But True, because sometimes what sounds unbelievable is exactly where the truth hides.